This week I learned, when in doubt, go back to some easy traditional fantasy. Just what the soul needs. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update as we have moved in to the month of September. And we're going to go ahead and kick things off with a nice weekly update. But this thing, guys, what am I reading is always where we like to begin with this. And there's some things going on that have kind of slowed me down a little bit. I am going to be on vacation next week. So, if you're like me, you're working finance, you know what it's going to be when you get back to work. So you like to try to work a little bit ahead. So I've kind of been a little slower this week. However, I did manage to finish a book. I finished The Crystal Shard. It's the first book in Icewind Dale by Mr. R.A. Salvatore. Book number 4 chronologically when it comes to Legend of Drizzt. But I really actually did like this book quite a bit. Now, here's the thing with these Drizzt books. It seems like every single time I start one, people feel like they've got to ease me in or walk in eggshells about, it's not going to be quite what you're used to. You had to kind of read it as a preteen. Guys, I love traditional fantasy. I love adult fantasy. I feel like there's room in this world for both. So going back to something that might be considered, okay, maybe it's not the most complex thing, that's fun. I enjoy doing that, guys. People told me these are nice, easy palate cleansers. They're right. But you know what? That doesn't mean they're any less fun than the other fantasy that I read. Not everything has to be a sprawling epic with 4,000 characters and 300 different kingdoms to memorize. I felt like this was a lot of fun. It's just the first book in Icewind Dale. But what I did like about it is, more so than Dark Elf, is it almost feels like I like Drizzt being out on his own, exploring the land and stuff like that. I felt like him and Guinevere just journeying was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I like the Underdark too. What I like about this is he's got friends. I like him having some camaraderie with some people, some actual brotherhood, some friendships. I like that a lot. So I felt like this book, again, it was just 1 out of 3, so the trilogy can go either way. But I did like that it did feel like more than just a Drizzt. But now I know that this is the book where Drizzt was apparently originally just a secondary character. It's not meant to be the main character. So that might be kind of the way that it is written, or the way it seems like now, going back and reading it in order like this. But I like a lot. I always kind of had like a fellowship-y vibe. I like that they did just kind of stay really just in 10 towns. That was kind of nice. There were a couple of other locations that we visit and all, but the only complaint I have about the book, guys, is Cinnabon sounds like Cinnabon, and it makes me hungry the whole time. But I did really, really enjoy my first taste of Icewind Dale. And again, Mr. Salvatore continues to write excellent action. A lot of people told me they felt like this would be a step backwards, since I was going to be reading it out of order, that he had become a better writer when he got to Dark Elf before he actually originally wrote this. I think the action in this book was even better than stuff that happened in Dark Elf. So I'm quite happy with it. And guys, I kept working on A Clash of Kings, my reread, a little slower than I would usually do a Song of Ice and Fire book. I say I'm about 60%, 2/3 here if I'm guessing. Maybe just a little over half, actually. I'm enjoying it. Well, here's the thing with this, is this was never actually meant to be like something I was going to speed through. I was going to take my time and things like that. I would have liked to have had it done before that new Stephen King book comes out on Tuesday. But it's okay. It's not a big deal if I'm not. Again, when it's a reread, I don't mind not finishing it before I start something new. That's quite all right with me. So I'm fine with that, but I am really very much enjoying my revisit to this world for the first time in 11 years. What I didn't remember about Clash of Kings this go through is just some little things, like some backstory to some characters I didn't recall. Like there's some things with Jorah, where they go into Jorah Mormont, like his first marriage and things like that. I think it's actually his second marriage. But, just little details like that I didn't really remember, that I think over time I've come to know a lot of things on the show, as the canon version of the characters, and just forgot things that I read, before I had children, So it's easy to see how I would forget those things over that amount of time. But it is always fun to revisit for all those things, because I know a lot of people are like, well, you already know the plot. What's the fun of going back and read? They can't really surprise you with the deaths or anything like that anymore. I just love the world, guys. I love the characters, and I love to just visit them and get inside of their minds once in a while. I gotta say, the Tyrion chapters are just phenomenal so far in this book, because if you don't know the storyline by now, let's just say that he is a very, very important character in this one, and he's making a lot of decisions that I'm just like, that's really like in a Batman way, kind of thinking like 3 steps ahead of everyone else. I'm really am enjoying that. But that's all I've really got this week, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about some things I plan to read next week. With what I'm going to read, obviously I'm going to keep working on Clash of Kings until Fairy Tale comes out. Fairy Tale by Stephen King is a new Portal fantasy book by him, and it's going to be his first trip back to fantasy since it went through the keyhole a decade ago, and I'm very excited about it. Billy Summers kind of was like, in hindsight, I think I like it even less than I did on first reading. Not a bad book. It's one of those, you forget about it an hour after you finish it. I felt like maybe some things were getting a little stale with him. He needed to get back to the fantastical, get back to the supernatural. So I think this has an opportunity to do both of those things. Again, I'm really most anxious to see if Fairy Tale does tie into Dark Tower, Talisman, anything like that, other worlds that he has created. I'm really excited to see that, because I remember later it completely shocked me with some of the multiverse connections that it had in it. But yeah, Stephen King books, guys, they always cut to the front of the line on release day for more reasons. One, he's my favorite author, but also I remember when The Outsider came out and I wasn't reading it on day one. And within like 24 hours, people were dropping in my messages, what did you think about when this, and this happened in the book? I'm like, well, I haven't read it yet. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you're Stephen King. I thought for sure you had read it. So I definitely want to make sure that I read Stephen King stuff immediately now to kind of avoid spoilers. But yeah, him returning to fantasy is something very, very exciting. I'd say the last time I was this excited was for The Institute, but I feel like I need to check those expectations, because The Institute I thought was just alright as well. But, again, later really completely just blew me away. So I think the guy is really hit or miss for me at this point as far as like great books. I don't think he can write a bad book really if you don't count Sleeping Beauties, but you know what I mean. So I'm anxious, but I'm trying to keep the expectations, reasonable. I think that's pretty safe at this point in his career, expecting, just good, not hoping for the greatest thing ever. But I'm really, really excited about Fairy Tale. I can't wait to get my hands on it Tuesday morning, because I will be on vacation, guys, and that's pretty much my plans for the week, is to read Fairy Tale. But yeah, if I finish that for some reason I need like a break, guys, I've always got the next Icewind Dale book. This is Streams of Silver, and yeah, you see Bruno with a nice little axe there. I don't think that's quite the axe that's very prevalent in this book, but I don't know. We'll see, guys. I will be, as far as talking about Legend of Driss, people have asked me, are you going to keep reviewing those? I think I'll do by arc. So I did Dark Elf, so then I'll do Icewind Dale, and just kind of go from there. If I keep enjoying it, or if you guys keep enjoying hearing me talk about it, I'll keep talking about it by trilogy or 4-book sets, however they do it. Each new arc that they have in that series, I would keep doing that. But we will see when I get there. Let's talk about this week on the channel, guys. There was a couple of things we did. We did continue with Throne Zone with episode number 2 of House of the Dragon. That episode was called The Rogue Prince. And in many ways, I thought it was better than the first one. My 2 counterparts still like the first episode better. But we all really did like the episode. And we all like talking to you guys live, doing that, getting some live reaction. It just feels fun to have water cooler talk back. And, the viewership for the show went up. So, I mean, that's very, very encouraging. So, I'm excited for the show, and I'm excited to talk to Scott and Madison each week when we do that, for 10 weeks here. It's going to be a lot of fun going back to talking about Westeros every single Monday night. That's going to be a great, great time. And I'm excited. I'm excited that some of you guys are interested in hearing us talk about Westeros for an hour each week. It's a lot of fun. I did a review this week, and it was for The Forgetting Moon by Mr. Brian Lee Durfee, Simon & Schuster Saga Press, Forgetting Moon. It was very exciting to do, guys, because I had a lot of enthusiasm for that book, because I think it completely floored me. I had been told by people that I trust that I was going to like it quite a bit, but I think I liked it even more. Like I said, it's only 1 book in, but I felt like, for comparison's sake, let's just say the first couple of books of Faithful and the Fallen, I'd put it on par with that at least. Faithful and the Fallen's a top 10 fantasy series for me. So the fact that I love that, and I make that comparison with that series, just shows how much I really did enjoy it. And I think my enthusiasm kind of shows through in that video about how much I really did enjoy it. And yeah, it's something that's really, really great. I'm encouraged that, like I said, reviews really have struggled on the channel recently. That one's gotten a little more interest. I hope it just means it's more people are going to pick up the book, because I think Brian deserves your trust here, and that the guy is a very good writer, and he's wrote a very, very good yarn here. I think you guys would enjoy it quite a bit. Fans of, like I said, Warlord Chronicles is a comparison I made, Faithful and the Fallen, maybe a little bit of First Law, and they're not quite as much First Law as those other two, and probably some Tad Williams I'd put in there as well. So if you like all those authors, all those series, I think you're going to like what you find with Five Warrior Angels. And you know what? Hurry up and read it, because people on the Discord, it's sticking to my arm, people on the Discord, it's glossy covers, have already started reading The Blackest Heart. I'm going to read it after I finish Fairy Tale. Like I said, Brian's a big Stephen King fan, so I think he understands that. But yeah, I'm excited to go back to it. And then I get to start trying to bug Simon & Schuster for a review copy of The Lonesome Crown, because I won't be able to wait. And then I close things off, guys, with the book haul a little early this month, because like I said, I am going to be on vacation. I've got some things planned. I am going to be bringing back Talk About Nothing this month. That's going to be with Nicholas Eames, the author of Kings of the Wild and the Bloody Rose. So that's actually a returning spot on the channel. I can't wait to just talk about nothing outside of, just writing with him. It's going to be a lot of fun. I enjoy that. I hope to bring back Saturday Night Nights. I'm having a hard time with a lot of people finding everyone in the same time zone on a Saturday night where it can all work for them. So that's why I didn't have it last month. But I'm hoping to bring that back. I'm going to start asking some people here pretty soon that you can see if they'd be interested in coming on and having an extended chat with me for a little bit of Saturday Night Nights. But that's really kind of up for whenever, sometime in September. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, anytime I can have another book haul, that I think that's something that people usually look forward to every month. So I'm glad that I got to thank those people for the wonderful birthday gifts and things like that they did send me this month. But guys, how about some next week plans? I do have a couple of things on the docket here. I didn't get to do my Return of the King review. That's the final Lord of the Rings trilogy review. I wanted to have that out before Rings of Power, which I will talk about in a second, guys. Don't worry. It didn't happen. It got bumped before Forgetting Moon. I wanted to talk about Forgetting Moon while it was still fresh, while I was still really, really excited to talk about it. And I wanted to make sure I got that out before, people started the book 2 on the Discord for Five Warrior Angels. So I went ahead and bumped Return of the King to who cares? It comes out a couple days after Rings of Power. The Tolkien content hasn't exactly been in high demand on the channel, but I am excited to talk about why I think that is the conclusion to the greatest journey in fantasy, you guys. And that's up for debate. That's just my opinion, really. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about the old Return of the King. We'll be going into episode 3 of Throne Zone. That episode is going to be called not the Rogue Prince. That's the second of his name. And if you guys watch the preview for next week, I think you can understand what that title refers to. No spoilers from me, but I don't think it's very hard to put together. But it looks exciting times, guys. I think we'll be moving into the War of the Stepstones. So that's something I'm very anxious to see how they do on the show, because in the book, that is a conflict that does last about a decade. So I'll be interested to see how they do the timelines on the show. They are kind of skipping time really fast. I'd say for the first 2 episodes, they went through about a year in the kingdom. So I'm interested to see how much they continue to speed up time, because I do know they're going to be aging up those actresses here pretty soon. And I'm excited to see how they get there. So just knowing what's coming, guys, I'm very excited. And I will be excited to talk to Scott and Madison about those on Monday night. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the month, guys. Wrap up the month of August. Call out my book of the month. And all of those fun things that make a wrap-up episode a lot of fun for me personally. Pretty good month, I believe, on the channel as far as growth goes. And what I read in August, except for one thing, was actually all really, really good. We'll get into that when I get there. But yeah, lots of fun things to talk about that happened in the month of August, and I can't wait to do it. But before I go, guys, I do got some TV and movie talk stuff, guys. And I've just got to say, everyone was right. Top Gun Maverick was incredible. This is easily my favorite movie of the years, guys. I am really, really sad that I didn't get to see it in the theater. It's just so much pain in the ass for us to get a babysitter and all that stuff to go see a movie. And we chose to go see Elvis instead of Top Gun. But here's the thing, I got an 85-inch Samsung 4K. We got surround sound. I think we did okay. It's not like we were struggling here. But, I can see why people freaked out about seeing this movie in IMAX, because this has some of the best action scenes that I have ever seen in a movie ever. And this is with the same actor in the Mission Impossible series that is known all for its action sequences. The stuff that is in this movie is just a thrill ride. It's just unbelievable. And I feel like Top Gun, it pulls off what Cobra Kai has, in that it has found a way to introduce like the next generation, make them really likable, but never once disrespect the legacy characters. I feel like there is so much respect paid to that original movie, and the scene with Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise was a tearjerker, guys. It was beautiful the way that it was done. It was something that I didn't know that I wanted, really, because I won't lie, guys. I hadn't watched the original Top Gun since I was like 10. So we rewatched it right before we watched Maverick, and I think that really gave it the best effect possible. It really did help things really see how they tied in. It made sense who Penny was and things like that. But guys, it's just an amazing, amazing movie that it's hard-pressed that anything's going to beat that for me this year. Absolutely incredible. It's a tearjerker. The action, like, literally will have your heart pounding in the third act. It's stunning to look at. The fact that this movie is almost 100% practical, that's like the bullets and stuff like that. Obviously, guys, they're not really actually shooting at each other. It's CGI, but like all the jets are real. But Miles Teller, I got to give him credit as Goose. That's an actor I think that has come a long way, because I used to think that Miles Teller was. I didn't understand why Hollywood loved him so much, because every movie I'd see of his, I'd be like, he's kind of bringing it down. I think with this and The Offer now, he's really actually come into his own. I think actually since he did that movie, God, what was it called? The movie he did where the music teacher was like going to beat him up. I can't remember what that movie's called, where he's the drummer. Anyway, he was really good in that. But I think ever since then he's been on a career trajectory that has just turned around, and he's great as Rooster in this. And if you've seen Top Gun, I think you can draw the conclusion of what character he's playing just by the mustache. But it's just an amazing, amazing movie, guys. And it's just Tom Cruise is literally, regardless of how you feel about him personally, I feel like he is the last real Hollywood star. I feel like he is the last one you really will go see his movies because he is in it. Because he's going to do some stunt that's amazing. And I never feel like his acting is ever so. Besides The Mummy, which wasn't his fault. That movie was just poorly, poorly written. But I feel like that guy's always pretty much like automatic in that I'm at least going to enjoy what he puts out there. And the fact that this guy is 60 and still doing this stuff is just amazing. And I can't wait for Mission Impossible 7 and 8. It's going to be so good, guys. So Top Gun Maverick absolutely exceeded my expectations in every single way. And they were high just based off the feedback I heard. See it immediately, guys. You can buy it video on demand on Amazon now. That's what I did. That's what we did here at the house. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. I could not get enough of it. I would definitely watch it again. So great job to Tom Cruise and his team there to put that together, because a lot of the times these sequels that come out decades after the original, they don't do so well. But like I said, I felt like this kind of did what Cobra Kai has been able to do, and that it introduces new characters that you will grow to love really quickly, and will also respect its legacy characters in the best way. So very, very happy with that. Rings of Power, guys. I'm going to watch it tonight. A lot of people have already watched it. I'd say the reaction is kind of mixed. About a week ago, I would have told you, hell, I'd say 24 hours ago, I told you it was probably going to be mixed to negative. But like it's been kind of split. There's some people on my Discord that are, I would call them pretty close to Tolkien scholars, and they're mostly happy. I mean, they still say there's some things that they wouldn't have done it that way, but they still say it's an enjoyable show. What I'm kind of concerned about is that I'm waiting to watch it with my 10-year-old who loves the Peter Jackson trilogy. We watch it twice a year. He absolutely loves it, and he's excited to see this. I'm kind of curious to see how he'll feel, because the words I keep hearing with this is slow burn. And I'm fine with that. I'm a fantasy reader. I'm used to, sometimes it takes a while to set some things up. I'm afraid it's going to kind of bore him a little bit. I'm anxious to see, because, he doesn't have characters that he knows and things like that. It's easy for me to sell him on The Hobbit because I'm like, well, it's Bilbo. He was the one that Frodo was talking to in Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, okay, yeah, I know Bilbo. That was a kind of easy sell. Here I gotta be like, I guess you got Galadriel and Elrond, but I don't know how recognizable those characters will be. So I'm really concerned for him for that. The other concern I have is that all of the really, really positive reviews talk about is beautifully shot. It looks stunning. The soundtrack is amazing. Look, I know it's going to look beautiful, guys. A $1 billion show better look beautiful. I know it's going to look incredible. I have no doubts about that. What I need to know is, are the characters good? Is the story, does it make sense? Things like that. That's what I need to know about. And I'm not hearing a lot of that. So that's giving me a lot of Last Jedi red flags. Is all I heard when that movie came out. I was like, well, it's beautifully shot. How about the movie, though? How about the character arcs? How about the development? How did that all go? So that's what I'm kind of a little bit concerned about. But look, guys, I am 100% going into this with an open mind. I said I want to treat it like I did Witcher when I realized they're not really maybe following the books to a T anymore. But you know what? I'm enjoying it as just a TV show. I'm hoping to be able to do that with this. I mean, there are things I want to see. I want to see some of these places like Khazad-dûm in all their glory, before what we recognize in Fellowship of the Ring and stuff. So I want to be excited about it, guys. I feel like going into it, with hope for the best, expect the worst is probably the best method for someone like me. But again, I'm not married to the Silmarillion, guys. I read it once in high school, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me at that age. So if you were talking about that, they're disrespecting this or that, besides the elves having short hair, there's nothing I absolutely am just 100% against going into it. So I'm going to give it a fair shake. As far as talking about it on the channel, if I feel like if I have enough positive things to say, guys, I'll make a video for it like I did for Sandman. If I have enough positive things to say, because I don't like to just make overly angry rant videos. That's not my style, guys. I like to keep things positive. And you know what? You don't have to look very hard to find negative Rings of Power content on YouTube. So I feel like you'll be able to get that, you can get that medicine somewhere else if you need it. But I feel like if I have enough positive things to say with some constructive criticism, then sure, I might make a good, quick 10-minute video talking about what I thought of those first 2 episodes. But we will find out tonight, guys. Going to watch that when my youngest goes to bed, because he definitely wouldn't be interested. He's got the attention span of a gnat. But my oldest is quite anxious. He actually asked if he could stay home from school today so we can watch it. But I'm hoping that it is exciting for his sake, and me being a Tolkien lover, I'm hoping it just feels like Middle Earth. That is my hope. So please don't spoil the first 2 episodes down below for people who haven't seen it yet, guys. It didn't even technically come out today, but I know a lot of people watched it last night. So but don't be afraid to drop down below and let me know what you think about it. Let me know what else you're watching, reading, listening to, or playing, and I will talk to you guys there. Have a great weekend.